You're the guitarist, Craig, with Self is a Seed.
Yes, that's correct. One of them is to Sir Dave the singer. He also shares guitar duties.
Have you guys only been together since 2010?
No, there's been a few different incarnations, but the band, in 2006, we had an EP under the name Self as a Seed, and then we had a lineup change maybe a year after that came out, and then, I don't know, I think it's really easy, I think, in a band to let a few years slip by if you're not really focused. Yeah, I think we've been productive since 2010, I guess you could say, but yeah, the band's been together really in 2005, 2006.
Well, if you had an EP called Self is a Seed, what was the band's name?
No, yeah, the band was called Self as a Seed then. Originally it was called Self, but yeah, there was other bands. Once MySpace, I think, came out, we started getting a lot of emails going, there's already this band called Self, and so that's eventually how we ended up changing the name to Self as a Seed, just to stop all the MySpace hate.
I think the name's kind of self-explanatory in a way, that you are the seed.
Yeah, I think the original idea for it was just to, continually to grow, and evolve as a band. So that's the plan. I think originally, too, we had some crazy ideas that each record we should change the name of the band so it actually does change. But we realised that's just a stupid idea and dropped it pretty quickly. But, yeah.
And you've just released your debut album, Siren.
Yes.
And you are about to actually go on tour.
Yes, next week. So there's a few major cities we've been touring there a bit last year, so a few people have had a chance to get to know the songs live, so it's going to be really good. So I think we get on next Wednesday, the tour starts on the 10th, and yeah, it's going to be really good now that people have had a chance to get to know the songs on CD, so yeah, it'd be really nice to play them too.
And as part of that tour, you're going to be at the Corner Hotel in Melbourne on the 12th supporting Dead Letter Circus.
Yes, yeah, we're really amped for that one, so that's good. Yeah, so that's on the Friday, I believe, so yeah, and then we're Breaking Orbiters on there as well. They're fellow Sydney-siders, so yeah, it's going to be a great show. Looking forward to it.
You have played with Dead Letter Circus before, though, haven't you?
Yeah, in the Metro in Sydney, I think that was 2010, I think we played with them. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's always a pleasure to watch some great bands after you finish playing, so we definitely have a few beers that night.
And you have supported also Carnival and the Butterfly Effect, as well as Closure in Moscow and a band called Helmet from the USA.
Yeah.
You've been really concentrating on writing songs and doing live shows.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, this album has kind of been, the debut album has been kind of a long process, just being an independent band and funding something like this, besides just the writing of it and getting all that right. Yeah, it's just taken some time. So just, playing live and just spreading the word, but it's really nice to have the album out there now and have something, behind you on the road.
Yeah, because you do have a video on YouTube from, I can't even pronounce the name of this song. You say it.
Yes, Somnambulist.
What does that mean?
Basically, someone who kind of like sleepwalks, essentially. But I think the metaphor is, in this song that Dave is getting at is, just make sure you don't do that with your life, I guess.
Got the video up there, and that's from 2011, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So that's when we first, like I said, trying to fund this album, we did it over 2 sessions, just money-wise. So we did the first 5 tracks with the Anton, and then once we had those done, we all went back to our day jobs, saved up, enough cookies in the cookie jar, and then a year later, which was probably April 2012, we went and finished the last 6 tracks. And yeah, which brought us up to, just planning to get it out. So yeah, it's just quite a process.
What you said about sleepwalking through your life and that, I did notice that a few of your songs have got, I guess, a message in them about those sort of things and about, waking up to what's around you in society and that.
Yep.
Is it a theme in every song, or is it only some of the songs?
Let me think. Yeah, it's definitely a thread, I think, through the whole album, just to really kind of focus on what you want to do and what's important. And I think a lot of that stems to, like, as I told you, the bands, with lineup changes, and then we kind of lost our focus and our way a little bit. So you can kind of apply it to anything, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I grew up listening to Rage Against the Machine. There's all my influences and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes sense that it would run through our music, to have some sort of consciousness about what you're doing.
Can I ask who does the songwriting in the band?
Yeah, it's pretty much a collaboration. So it'll generally always start with a guitar riff, and then that'll come into the jam room, and then we just basically nut it out as a band together. So I think we kind of have an unspoken rule that the best idea always wins. It's kind of always about the song. And for this record, we kind of had all the music done, and then in the middle of winter, we found a really nice holiday house. You know, normally you wouldn't be able to afford on a couple of acres, but we got it really dirt cheap in the middle of winter, and we just kind of locked ourselves in there for a week and just finished the vocals on that, laid it all over. So it's a pretty fond memory, that one.
You had Anton Hagup, who's worked with Silverchair and Powderfinger, work on your
album.
album.
Engineered on Diorama, and I'm not sure the Powderfinger album from memory, but yeah, it's really good at what he does, Anton.
Do you think you learnt from him?
Yeah, definitely. It was a really comfortable experience working with him, especially being in, such a top-notch studio like 301 can be kind of daunting. But especially for Dave, our singer, he's right into the production. So I think for him he was a kid in a candy store, because that's, right up his alley and what he's into. Yeah, with Anton, we had a few people that we were going to approach to work with, but with Anton, he happened to, when we first approached him, it turned out he lived around the corner from a share house the band was living in at the time. So he just came over one night and had a beer, and then after the conversation, he walked out the door and well, there's our producer. So it was quite funny how it happened. It was one little phone call, and then by the end of the day, it was just decided, I guess.
And do you all still live together now?
No. Yeah, no, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years. Actually, a lot of the songs used to be where we rehearsed and jammed as well. So a lot of the songs were written in the house as well. So I think we did the guitar tracks for the first 5 songs there as well. I think the last week we were moving out of the place, it was basically empty except for the recording gear, and we just nutted out some of the guitar tracks for Somnambulist and Say Something, etc.
Is that how you actually got together in truth, that you all just were looking for roommates and happened to be able to play instruments?
Yeah, no, we were in the band first. I think we were all living at home, and then we all just basically got all but one got a share house. Yeah, just moved in as a band. It was just perfect.
So did you meet in school or something?
All the guys met at school except for me. I met Dave at a music course. So I think, I remember joining the band. I think it was basically, he had told me that the guitarist had left the band and they had a gig in 3 weeks and it really sucks. And I was, I didn't want to jump in. I was like, yeah, that sucks, man. And we went to the bar, and after about 4 drinks, I was like, dude, I can totally be in the band. And so 3 weeks later, I think we punched out the gig. I'm sure it was horrible at the time, but it felt pretty good.
That was the beers you had beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, their false confidence.
You've released Siren as the first single off of Siren, the album.
Yeah, it was essentially kind of a single. I don't know, when we were talking about what we wanted to do as a single, we could have picked a more straight-ahead rock song. This one's not your typical single, but essentially the song's kind of about the band and getting over that hump of, just when we had that period where we kind of lost focus. So that song was kind of written as the turning point of that moment. It's why we named the album Siren, and so it's the title track. So it was like, well, let's just make it all. The tour is called the Siren album. Let's just all make it Siren related. So essentially, just that was the idea behind it. But we've got a film clip coming out for that as well, which has turned out amazing. So really looking forward to releasing that.
Can I ask if you have a favourite song on the album?
Me personally, well, Siren kind of has a soft spot for that reason, as I just mentioned. But I don't know. I always kind of like Monkey Business. I don't know why. I think just lyrically, it's a little playful, that one. So, but RFID, when we're playing live, that one always seems to be the most fun.
And what does that stand for?
Radio frequency identification.
Oh.
It's just these little chips that's basically in everything these days. And if you're up late at night long enough, you'll cross a few conspiracy websites about how one day we'll all end up with damn plants. So I think that's where that comes from. Yeah, no, that's the idea behind that song.
Very cool. At least we know what you do when you can't sleep.
Yeah, that's it. Like everybody staring to the screen and surf the net.
Do you know what the second single will be off the album?
I'm not sure at this point because we've put a few out there. But I think the idea we're throwing up in the air at the moment is to do a clip for Pirates. So I'm thinking we're leaning that way at this moment, but I'm not too sure.
Well, can I say that Fluorescent Traditions, I think, my favourite on the album?
Oh, awesome! It's actually that one seems to go down before the album came out when we were playing live. We also had a lot of feedback from that, so we'll have to take that to the board meeting with the 12 Ls, and I'll put your vote in.
Thank you. We should let people know where you can be found on facebook.com. You are Self is a Seed.
Yep.
And you've also got a YouTube channel, which is Self is a Seed.
Yeah. We'll have some, I think, starting in 2 weeks, we'll have kind of the making of the album as well, which will release a song at a time. So, yeah, there'll be the YouTube channel's probably the best to check out in the near future. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But, Facebook or YouTube's probably the best to grab our content.
And the album is available on iTunes. There's a link on your Facebook, isn't there?
Yes.
But you also will be selling physical copies, or you do sell them if people contact you on Facebook.
Yes, that's correct. Or it's distributed through MGM too, so you can run into any JB or whatever your local record store is. We live in Sydney, so small record stores are becoming less and less. But yeah, you can order that and you probably get it in a week or two. But we'll have them at the show, so definitely come down and grab one.
People, if they do contact you for it, they will come to your show, then they can get a signed copy.
Yes, that's it.
Because you're using this to try and fund another album, is it?
Yeah. Well, the good thing about taking a long time to get your first album out is, and funding that, is that you have plenty of downtime to write the second one. So a little bit ahead of schedule. So, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think maybe towards the end of the year we'll be looking at releasing the first single, maybe off the next one, or early 2014. But yeah, so we're really excited about that.
Well, what genre of music you feel you fit into best?
I guess hard rock with a little progressive tinge to it, I think. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just as long as it rocks, that's kind of what we go for.
It's just that on your bio thing it says that you've got a pop sensibility rarely seen in their genre, and I'm thinking, pop, okay.
Yeah, I think maybe it's Dave's catchy vocals, but I think that's what press releases are for. Right. To stretch the truth as far as you can. I have no idea. But I guess it's pretty melodic. Although I mentioned before, we'll sit down with the lyrics. As far as the melody goes with the vocals, that's Dave's specialty. And he puts a lot of effort into that. So it's pretty catchy. Whether it's going to give Kylie Minogue a run for her money, I don't know. But I don't think that's what we're going for.
Well, if it was going to, who in the band would be wearing the gold hot pants?
The gold hot pants. That's a tough call. Probably Nathan, but that's the drummer. But that's only because he'll tend to get the most wasted. So therefore, I can imagine, copious amounts of alcohol will end up in gold hot pants.
And having talked about your genre and that, it's Doctor and Memory Pit that are the ballads on the album.
Yes, Doctor's, the kind of the intermission in the album, essentially. It's just an acoustic track, so we left it quite bare. There was an idea at some points in the recording of the album that we could have strings and have this big, long, drawn-out, epic kind of track, but I think we just left it creepy and bare, which was a good decision in the end, I think. And
Pirate's probably one of the heaviest ones on there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. We had I think in August we released a Gratis EP, which actually had an acoustic track of Pirate. So that was one of the tracks that and Doctor and Pirate were written on acoustic with Dave. So yeah, it's funny that's kind of the heaviest because it started just as a little acoustic ballad.
And you are, as we said, you've got the Siren album, which is available through MGM, your Facebook, or at your shows.
Yes.
And your first show is the 10th of April, Wednesday in Newcastle.
Yep, at the Cambridge Hotel, yeah.
Yep, and then the Basement in Canberra the next night on the Thursday.
Yep.
And then, geez, you've got a busy schedule for 4 days there. Friday the 12th, here at the Corner in Melbourne.
Yep, with Dead Letter Circus, and then Saturday, I think on the 13th, we're at the Barman Club in Geelong with Solonikos and Insignia.
Yeah, and then you're going to have a few days off, and on the 19th, Friday the 19th, the Factory Theatre in Sydney.
Yes, so it's a hometown launch. Looking forward to that one.
And Friday the 26th at the Beetle Bar in Brisbane, and you only just announced your supports for that.
Yes, yeah, I think they've been locked in for a while, but it's always a race to the finish line, getting everything organised. Yes, that's good. We're also supporting Gay Paris on the 25th, so the night before the Beetle Bar in Port Macquarie, at the Port Macquarie Hotel.
Right. These having a lot of the weekend shows, I'm assuming you've mostly got day jobs still.
Yeah, well, essentially, still, it's rock and roll, so it doesn't pay the bills, unfortunately. So, the more and more we work on the road, the less we have to go to our day jobs. So it's pretty good. And also, it's not easy to get people to a show on Wednesday nights. So that's why they kind of tend to be on the weekends.
Yeah. It's always fascinated me, and it used to be something I used to ask people a lot, and I haven't lately, but making that transition from, doing like 4 shows in a row and then having to go back to the day job, that must be hard.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty soul-crushing. I think, especially, because we've been touring a bit, we've got friends in each state, so when, you're there on the Sunday morning driving home because you've got to get back for the Monday shift. Yeah, that's always a kick in the teeth. Plus you've got the 10 or 12 hour drive. So just to add insult to injury. Yeah, oh well, we've all got to work, huh?
Yeah, well, hopefully not for too much longer.
yeah, that's it.
It's been great talking to you, and I look forward to having a chat again one day.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kat, for the
all right.
support.
Thanks, bye.
Right. Cheers.